But what if Kaepernick's influence is so great that some of these players kind of transition over into the XFL? So here are some names we're monitoring here, ladies and gentlemen. And, of course, we'll start off with one Colin Kaepernick. You know he wants to play football. And, you know, I think he really could bring some NFL fans into the XFL fandom. And so, honestly, I think Kaepernick is probably the most influential figure on this list here. I think he would have the most financial impact on the XFL. I think Vince McMahon would love to have Colin Kaepernick play in this league. So this all of a sudden could create some sort of rivalry between the XFL and the NFL. And I say at the bottom there, unlikely to get a chance in the NFL, because it just seems like these teams have no interest in bringing this guy in. And, you know, I think it's ridiculous. I've talked about it many times on this program. And we'll talk about a rumor later today about perhaps the Oakland Raiders being asked by the NFL to sign Colin Kaepernick because the NFL, quote, looked the other way or kind of helped them out with the Rooney Rule investigation. So that's how hard the NFL is trying, because they want Kaepernick's collusion case to kind of be swept under the rug and be forgotten about. So Colin Kaepernick, I think, is a top candidate for the XFL. Do you want him in the XFL, ladies and gentlemen? Do you want him back playing football? Let me know in the comments section. And Kaepernick checks in as my first name to watch out for. How about this guy? Come on. Just roll with me here. Brett Favre. Why not? He's 48 years old. He'll be 50 once the season starts. But look, the league needs a gunslinger. Brett Favre is a gunslinger. He's in great shape. And he has made statements before, you may recall, that he's throwing the football pretty well. You know, he feels good, he feels in shape, and of course, there is a difference between football shape and being regular in shape. I understand that. But if Brett Favre gets that itch, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, why the heck not? And a lot of these names here obviously bring huge PR value, marketing material, all this stuff for McMahon and the XFL. And I would be shocked if McMahon turns down any of these names that I talk about except one, and you'll see him later. But Brett Favre, I think, would be a fantastic option. I just love the whole stories that we hear about with players retiring, then coming back, then retiring. And Brett Favre is like the most notable person to do that. It would be awesome if he did it one more time at age 50. Hey, Tom Brady's getting it done in his 40s. Brett Favre maybe could get it done on a lower-level professional league at age 50. We shall see. So he's my name number 2 to watch out for. Number 3, the 2011 Heisman Trophy winner, Robert Griffin III. Could he go to the XFL? Now, he has actually talked about he's gotten offers from the NFL. Now, of course, he was released by the Browns in March 2017, and you know, he's been in the headlines a little bit, you know, doing interviews and all this stuff. I believe he was on Golic and Wingo a couple of weeks ago. I remember watching or listening to some of that interview. And I think Robert Griffin III would be a good fit for the XFL. And, you know, he's going to have to work on his game a little bit. And, you know, he's got to be in the right offensive system and all that. But the X's and O's aside, I think this would be a good place for Robert Griffin III to kind of create a resurgence in his career. And, of course, he would be playing in the XFL with the goal of getting to the NFL. We all know he wants to play in the NFL yet again. And people forget the guy, you know, led a playoff team in 2012 with the Washington Redskins when they ran the football effectively with him and Alfred Morris back in the day. I say back in the day, it was like 5-6 years ago, so kind of funny. But Robert Griffin III, why not? Give him a shot, and he is my name number 3 to monitor here for the XFL. All right, we're going to get into some characters here. Chad Ochocinco. Hey, he played in a Mexican professional football league game not too long ago. Look at that $1 million smile right there. Bring him into the XFL. I'm telling you, he would provide a lot of headlines, a lot of fun, and you know he wants to play football still because he's still doing it. And I talk about bringing great character to the league. I just think, you know, he would have fantastic sound bites on the field if they mic him up while he plays, or, you know, post-game interviews and all that stuff. And look, I think it's very possible a lot of these players give Vince McMahon a call to see, like, yo, what's the deal? Like, would you be, you know, open to bringing me on and playing for a team in this league? And I think Chad Ochocinco could be one of those guys who gives Vince McMahon a call and says, hey, I'm very interested. So Chad Ochocinco, you know, great career with the Cincinnati Bengals. You know, he had a quick stint with the New England Patriots. Guy's still a very intelligent wide receiver, and I think he can translate that onto the field still. Looks like he's in pretty good shape as well. All right, speaking of the Cincinnati Bengals and a former teammate of Ochocinco, Terrell Owens. Get the popcorn ready, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, talk about character value here. I would love T.O. There's the picture right there. I love that. I would love T.O. to play in the XFL. Like, just imagine Owens and Favre and a name I'm going to mention later in the show playing in this league, and in a sense, I think it might actually create new football fans because you have the entertainment value, but you still have really good talent on the field as well. Terrell Owens played in an American Flag Football League game not too long ago. So, you know, he's still in good shape, and, you know, I think he could do a pretty good job there for the XFL. Why not? T.O. How about this guy here? Tim Tebow. Now, he is probably in the best shape among all of these players because Tim Tebow actually is, you know, playing in professional sports right now in a sense because, of course, he played for Class A, Single A baseball last year, invited to Met spring training this coming February. So, you know, I think Tim Tebow still has that itch to play football, and I think he would be a very solid addition to the XFL. And look, it's an offensive scheme kind of deal for Tim. It's not going to be an offense where he throws the football 45, 50 times. Maybe it is. Who knows? And he just outshines everybody. But Tim Tebow could bring back Tebowing to the XFL this time instead of the NFL and bring in, I think, a solid amount of fans as well. So there are a lot of big-time Tim Tebow kind of fan members out there, and I think Tim and Vince McMahon would get along quite well. So Tim Tebow checking in there. Finally, it's a long shot, but here he is, Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football. So here is the situation. I talked about this at the top of the show. That Vince McMahon will be ruling on character utmost over anything else in terms of who plays in the XFL. Can Johnny Manziel get into the XFL as we stand right now? No. According to the standards, he has a criminal record, so thus he cannot play in the league. And we have the tweets and Johnny Manziel kind of talking about how, oh man, I'm not eligible for the XFL. Looks like I'm going to have to go elsewhere and apply at Barstool Sports. And by the way, he's still, you know, an option for the Canadian Football League too. Like, he has actually a better shot to play with them because, you know, he's been tied to the Canadian Football League in the past. Not necessarily with the XFL because obviously that's not going to happen for him. But, you know, I'm telling you, Vince McMahon, if you give maybe a one-time exception to Johnny Manziel, I'm telling you, you probably won't regret it because a lot of people will be watching that kind of programming on the football field. So folks, throw in your thoughts in the comment section about the XFL. A really interesting story at that.